All right. Greetings. We're now going live. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource, the original channel. Check the description box for the link to the new channel. I've gone live already. I did a live video. We'll take you directly over there. I may come back later. This is a quick update. The title of this video is a quick update, in my opinion, about the GCR. Later on my other channel, if I have enough time, I like to get some details. I got a little bit of new information about the global currency reset. Many have been waiting for a very long time. That includes the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar, Vietnamese dong, Indonesian rupiah, many other currencies. Once again, a lot of information has changed. The criminal evil cabal elite has switched things up, and I said this before. They're even doubling down on their efforts to try to block this and keep this from taking place. For those, this information is real. I followed multiple conference calls throughout the years. I've held foreign currencies for a long time. I've already gone over in the past, some of which foreign currencies that I do hold or have. Years ago, I gave you guys an update. I got rid of a significant portion of the dinars that I was holding and reduced it, and I put it in another asset. I still do hold some other foreign currencies, which I won't go into over again. But there's a lot of things that have changed. I was also part of a private humanitarian program some years ago that some of you all may remember as, if you've heard of the prosperity programs, prosperity packages. I got a separate update from that. I may be able to go over, definitely probably on my other channel, because I don't have my notes or my computer right in front of me. And I do have sources out there. I won't go into the details, what type of sources, who they are, how I know them, but I've been able to break down with people that I have been able to meet. I've been able to go into more details as to how and helping you all out there make an assessment and evaluation as to what's actually happening. And that's why I encourage you guys, if you haven't saw it already, to watch those documentaries that I went over, help provide a oversight. And these documentaries were shared with me many years ago, by the way, one of which was called Changes on the Horizon. They may have changed the name. When I checked one of the times, it had a different name under a different title, because, YouTube has censored things, but you can watch, or you should be able to watch this documentary for free. It should still pull it up if you type in Changes on the Horizon. Type in Changes on the Horizon. I don't get into a lot of the stuff that documentary talked about, like the hearsay stuff or the Saint Germain stuff. But pay attention to the other stuff that it talks about. Is a lot of truth, and helps provide an understanding as to what's going on. And there's a real evil criminal elite cabal. I'm going to have to go over this again, because I'm getting some information out there that as more people are waking up, they are doubling down their efforts. They're not going to give up. They really do exist, whether you refer to them as the Illuminati, the ruling class elite. There is a criminal global cabal. I also call them a criminal syndicate, because of what they're involved in. They've created like this fictitious system that we operate under through contracts. There's people at the top. I've explained to you guys a long time ago in the past. I said there's very elite people in the shadows. My friend calls them the shadow people. They have a lot of wealth. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Now, I'm not a financial expert. I'm still learning things myself. By no means am I a financial expert, but I do know this, and I have experience that I'm just sharing with you guys. I've shared it with people that I've gotten a chance to meet. I've shared my private documents, information to prove and validate when I attended these private events years ago by invitation only. And I told you guys, many of you guys know the story already, how I was convinced by my older cousin to go, which some of it did turn out in the end that he was accurate. I was able to meet like-minded people. I was able to gain better information, inside assessment, as far as to what is actually going on and what they've changed throughout the years. For a very long time, the global criminal elite have wanted to keep their populations poor. I may have touched on some of this in the past. They refer to the rest of the population as useless eaters, serfs. Their goal or part of their end game is they've controlled populations in the past. Now it's been more difficult for them because there's been a leapfrog in technology. Certain things they can't hide. People are able to differentiate between the mainstream media that's spewing a lot of fake news and versus getting the accurate information, which mainstream media, they will accuse the independent media of fake news, but what they don't go into details about or won't tell you, the independent media actually exposes a lot of what the mainstream media won't cover as in depth. Like you could have the same story like what happened in Maui. The independent media will cover how there are actually directed energy weapons it's believed to be was used. They just went over the evidence. Greg Reese, who's an independent reporter, historian. I love his updates with Band.video. Check out MadMaxWorld.tv. The Reese Report, he has a separate channel on there. There's many other independent media that, the individual, if you follow the script and you trust me, I'm going to take you down the right path. I'm not going to lead you astray because I know you guys were concerned whether or not I was leaving, this, that, and the other. They've double-crossed me, and I've kind of gone over that in the past about when I attended this event, but I've got more information, and we're going to have to double down our efforts. But I got some good information too. I won't go into details about because, as I've told you guys in the past, I'm not able to decipher until I can maybe get another platform, and I can do something for security verification purposes. I can't completely filter out because remember I told you guys in the past they have minions and underlinks and gatekeepers that are paying attention, that are on their payroll, that are trying to enslave the population. They're trying to keep people from becoming wealthy. They literally, if you know what they did, like in the movie, for example, Enemy of the State with Will Smith and the actor Gene Hackman, how they sabotage them. And then they have, and you've seen other movies like this where they'll do things like in Hunger Games, how they put different obstacles and roadblocks. Now, some of you guys in the general public that don't understand about the private sector, this is what I do know about. I'm not a financial expert, but I do know about the shadow people there, some of their ideology, how they operate. I can tell you how evil they are. I can tell you some of the tactics they use. I've discussed this with a friend of mine privately who helped me understand who they were and some of these same tactics that they use to help you identify as they're becoming more exposed and uncloaked in the shadows, which they can't no longer hide due to technology and other things that we've been able to identify who they are and things. And that's why they don't like stuff like, because they control YouTube, they didn't like stuff like Pizzagate being exposed because this started to identify who they were. I remember one of Pastor Lindsey Williams' last interviews on InfoWars, and he was telling Alex Jones at the time, if you know the story behind Pastor Lindsey Williams, he was explaining, this is a true story. Maybe have to go back and if you find these videos, it's the reason why YouTube deplatformed Alex as well as many other platforms, because he was telling a lot of the truth. They label people who give a lot of truth as conspiracy theorists. Not saying everything these people say is totally accurate, because I always tell you guys to do your own homework, as I give a disclaimer, which this video is always for educational, informational, entertainment purposes. This information is not to be construed as legal advice by no means. These are my opinions, but I always encourage you all to research the information, because Pastor Lindsey Williams told Alex, one of his last interviews that I believe he was allowed to do before his elites, it sounded like they didn't want him to go on Alex Jones' show anymore. Because he was telling Alex, he said, they know who you are. And he said there's one thing his elite buddies didn't like him, and then he started to he didn't really go into details about what it was, but I believe I figured out what it was that these elites, one of the biggest topics they don't want the general public to find out about or disclose that they're involved in at the very highest levels. And it deals with children. child sex trafficking, the occult, Pizzagate. Look up Ted Gunderson back in the day. Look up, I'm giving you some names because, this will help bypass while you still have the chance, and bookmark these people, research them, and some of these testimonies and stories you can find on the independent media. Download it before they try to scrub it, remove the information so it's archived. So it's documented. But this is one of the things. They didn't want the child sex trafficking, satanic cults. They didn't want that being exposed. That kind of encompasses all in one. Of course, they're false flags. They do. That's another major topic. That's why they got rid of a lot of the videos that will cover. And that's an actual military term I found out that's used. They are aware of. I don't know which branch of the military, but I was informed they actually use that term, false flags, by the way. But there's that topic with Pizzagate. They don't want you covering talking about that topic. There's also the topic of false flags. They also don't want you talking about, of course, like with this thing they pushed in with the vaccines, the mRNA, with the ingredients that they contain. Because if they're straight up, and this was an honest, healthy shot that was good for you, that will prevent COVID, if you accurately go by the statistics and even follow the CDC. I'm not saying it's a lot of truth to what the CDC is giving you, but the mainstream media is giving a lot of disinfo, which is coordinated with the medical establishment, the medical mafia. So you get a better understanding. You see, so understand this criminal elite, they do not have our best interests at heart. So they didn't want you talking about the Pizzagate, the false flags, the vaccines. That's why they were banning channels that were telling people the truth. Those three topics. I'm trying to think. There was like two other topics they didn't want. But the main top thing I figured out, and that's why I found out one of the family members of the famous Rothschild family went on CNN, I heard, and was discouraging people from watching this film that I heard aired only at select theaters. A friend of mine told me originally, he said it was called the Mel Gibson movie. And I had a relative that told me they saw it. And I was surprised that they even mentioned how they exposed Oprah Winfrey, because I have a friend who does rideshare. I'll just leave it at that. You know what rideshare is. And told me, he's met with different people from a guy that worked with the royal family that gave him some inside information. But when you meet different people, I used to have, when I used to go to the barber shop years ago, and one of the assistant barbers at the time, she told me, she was like, oh, we talk to all sorts of people because they have different customers, clients, and different people who are awake, share different information. I said, but she didn't know it was around the time period, or maybe some years after, I started a YouTube channel. I was able to gather also some, how can I put it? What do you call them? Different sources out there. There's people that when you are running a channel or different platforms, even though it's small, I'm considered a micro influencer. They never allowed me to make it to a certain level, but in some instances, years ago, I wasn't really trying to. I didn't tell you guys to subscribe to my channel. I just threw my videos out there. Some of them went viral, like the stuff I did about the black card. Some of those I had to remove at the time, and I told you I went over that, the reasons why. I won't go into all the details, but make a long story short, they didn't allow me to grow as large as I could have been. And I also didn't know how really to optimize my brand at the time. That's one of the reasons why this channel, it got, to a certain level, because I saw the writing on the wall, what was coming. YouTube has been fixing censoring, and the algorithms, they've been getting tougher and stricter since 2016. We've been following this. Even prior to 2016, that was when the heavy rollout came, where they called the adpocalypse, where they started censoring very, very heavily, by the way. We have in the chat, Jose Botello says, yep. Okay, thank you for joining. Don't hesitate. If you're watching, you currently have any questions, comments, or concerns, jump in. I always will get to the chat, even though I recommended this as a short video. I should be wrapping up, and maybe in less than 15 to 20 minutes, by the way, because I got to head to another location. But I want to give you guys an update. Also, check the description box of this video. will take you to the link on my new channel. I mostly do live videos. I just want to give you guys a heads up. It may look like I don't have any videos over there, but when you go to my channel, you go to any YouTube page, some YouTube pages have, like, they started the YouTube shorts to compete with TikTok, Instagram. Some channels just have the live and video section or all the above. I never really did the shorts yet, maybe down the road, but I still have to work on just uploading regular videos. But I have a live video. It was my first video I did over there. In case you haven't watched it, check it out. Make sure you go over there and subscribe. Now, that channel, I'm going to make probably some changes where I'm not going to go as in depth as I did that first live video over there, because I told myself I didn't want this to turn into like the same old kind of what I did over here. So that channel, it's going to be a little bit different from maybe the way I did things over here. And I reminded myself not to go in depth about this so-called conspiracy information. I'll have to talk about that type of stuff on my Rumble account. And I will always update you guys and let you know once I get those videos uploaded on Rumble, I start going live over there. I had a friend I was surprised that recommended recently. I was shocked he knew about Rumble. So it is growing exponentially. Once I get the opportunity, I was under the weather not too long ago. Lately, I've been going through different things off and on, by the way. But thank you guys for your prayers, your concerns. When I get a chance, I have to get back with some people, messages, even phone calls, even Telegram messages separately, by the way. But I had been under the weather not too long ago, and then my schedule had changed again, where I went after a very busy 4th of July holiday. Just to give you guys a heads up, I had after that 3 days off for a while. Now they bumped me back to 2 days off a week, so I was doing 5 days. But then last week I had to do overtime. Then just a week prior, somebody called off, so I had to cover for that shift. So I had to go in earlier. Let you guys know I'm still punching the clock. Hopefully down the road, I'm able to figure this out. It seems like we're at the brink of things, and that's one of the things I was covering. The global criminal cabal's goal, and Pastor Lindsey Williams talked about this, is with the wealth transfer, the GCR, they want to keep people in the condition they're in. They want people to be poor. They want to bring the United States down to a third world status. This is why, you've seen in more recent times, the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates, which I heard slowly, incrementally throughout the years. We've had separate interest rate hikes, which I've heard are going to have effects down the road, and it's already having effects with inflation. Rent is going up all across the country. We're losing the purchasing power of the dollar. You want to be buying physical silver and gold. You can't go wrong with even copper coins, which are much cheaper. You have now it's going to be like the silver of the future. Once silver shoots up, copper, there's people buying copper coins. I remember I went to a coin show many years ago. They were already, at the time, it was real hot when I went to some of the last shows before when I used to go consistently. And I just hadn't recently gone to a show until very recently, by the way. I actually got a chance again. I couldn't even tell you how many years it's been. And then the one time I went before that, but prior to that, I used to go consistently. Well, one of my sources made me aware, and you get much better deals. I'm going to say there was a lot of people. I was telling a friend of mine who weren't at the coin show, but I noticed as I passed the churches were jam-packed. They were filled up. And I was telling someone the churches are supposed to be teaching you this type of information, the real information. I was on a conference call on Telegram, and I told one guy, I said, when it comes to the church, I said, they're hustling backwards. A lot of these churches are sold out. They're 501c3. I found that's tax code under the government. They can have their nonprofit tax status seized if they go against the grain. This happened. There was evidence of some pastors down in the Houston area that were speaking against that alphabet group. And the mayor, I heard at the time, I don't know if she's still the mayor down there, threatened to take away their 501c3 status if they continue to speak about that, because the Bible clearly spoke about, at least I grew up in the church, and I knew clearly. My father was an ordained minister. I never became an ordained minister, by the way, and things, but I was born and raised from the time I was a baby. I don't attend regularly anymore, so I'm not trying to get religious on you all, but I have a moral foundation, a moral compass. And my mother, my parents, they taught me about the New World Order. They taught me about the Illuminati, the Mark of the Beast. My mom used to take me to the Bible Prophecy Club meetings years ago. Now is the time. They're getting ready for the New World Order. If you guys don't understand, the Antichrist, some say, is already here. There's one connection I have. One of my sources in the South, I won't say which state, gave me a name of a potential person that he believed was Antichrist, because I heard allegedly he was supposed to rise out of Germany. And remember, the name is supposed to add up to 666. I don't know if it's part of gematria or numerology, but I remember my mother had this book years ago that she allowed another woman from the church at the time. I think her name was Carol Kearns. Borrowed it. I don't know if she ever gave it back, but it was about the Committee of 300, I think, was one of the books. But she had another book that was like an older book that talked about the Mark of the Beast. They even made movies about it, about the tribulation period. Those Christians know they have like separate movies for Christians. Some have aired at theaters and stuff like that, and things that go and talk about stuff like that. But that's what is happening. Is they're rolling things out because they want a one world, one world monetary system was their goal. Remember when the whistleblower Aaron Russo, movie producer, came out years ago? Rest in peace to Aaron Russo. And he revealed that Nick Rockefeller, when he befriended him, he asked Nick Rockefeller, he said, "What is the end game? What is the goal?" And Nick Rockefeller told him, said, "We want to see everybody chipped. That's the ultimate goal." And he said, "If you go along with us, basically, your chip will say KMA." And he said, "What does KMA mean?" It'll tell the you know who to kiss my you know what, and you'll be free to go. And Aaron was concerned because he's a humanitarian person. He loves people and, was concerned of how this will affect the population. He asked Nick, he said, why are you doing this to people, Nick? Why? And he said, Nick Rockefeller responded, "Hey, Aaron, what do you care about the people? Just worry about you and your family." And Aaron said, no, he did a movie, a film called Freedom of Fascism. He also did some interviews. If they're still out there, you can probably watch them for free on YouTube if they're still uploaded, if YouTube hasn't gotten rid of them, if they haven't taken them down, to show you how Google, they're in collusion. That shows you which side YouTube is on, right? What side the cabal is. It's another thing that obviously, with common sense, anybody, if you have common sense, will tell you which side they're actually on. With their, when you pay attention, why are they censoring, or who's censoring this movie called Sound of Freedom? Think about that for a minute. Why would they be censoring things like this? So the end game, with my opinion, dealing with the topic, and some new information I was getting. Remember years ago, I used to go to Chase Bank, which I had confirmation from people they purchased dinars from, and they would tell me, they said, "We don't deal with the dinar," but they were told to lie and things, and say that we don't deal with the dinar. And then some years later, they couldn't say that anymore. After a conference call that I followed for years, and one of the things I noticed when I followed this particular conference call years ago, I haven't listened to any of his calls lately. This particular conference call is separate from another one I check every now and then, periodically. I think gives good updates. But this particular gentleman, I won't even say the name. Some of you all may know who I'm talking about, but he used to tell us all the time. He said, "Guys, they're trying to take this away from you." And he used to say this years ago, over a decade ago. He wouldn't really go into details about it, but he said they're away from. I see what it means. That's what it's unfolding. They're closing ranks. Cabal, the good news is being exposed. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's things that are happening behind the scenes. Some things I don't go into details about because, like I said, they have minions, underlings. It's hard to where I can't filter who watches my videos or who's not, because just understand they have minions and underlings and gatekeepers out there, by the way. So just understand that, guys. So this is the update, short update. I'm going to have to get ready to roll. But I just wanted to give my opinion about the global currency reset, the wealth transfer, what you want to be doing, focusing on in the meantime, doubling down on your efforts. If you can, get into physical precious metals. To learn about this, you may say, "Dorsey, where do I go or what sites?" There's many silver channels on YouTube. Just type in silver stacking or silver stackers. I guarantee you, when you subscribe to different channels, the YouTube algorithm, it will refer you to other channels, because the dollar is depreciating in value. The purchasing power is not where it used to be, and it's going to continue to get worse. So you can retain your purchasing power through, hard assets. Another form which is not always talked about. I know a lot of people talk about real estate, stuff like that. There's other avenues, but you can't go wrong with physical metals, precious metals. And silver, I know gold is a lot more expensive, even though they do have fractionalized smaller denominations to purchase. The same with silver. There's large and small, but generally per ounce, going by per ounce, gold is much more than silver. But those are one of the things you want to focus on. They manipulate the market. I may go more in depth. The markets, even the crypto markets, is being suppressed. There's a lot of manipulation, but you always know what they keep down for a while means once it goes back up, there's going to be a big leg up. When they suppress something, according to the charts, there's going to be a big explosion. By the way, just think of that. When they manipulate the market and they suppress something down, but there's manipulation and there's strategy with that. Reason they're doing that's not a coincidence. Even with certain cryptocurrencies, certain coins are being held down intentionally, because years ago, when I listened to this call with these elites on there, believe they were describing, I think I'm interpreting some of these different calls I listened to, and they talked about some of the career fields they worked in and were not publicly advertised. But there's people out there, in my opinion, I believe their jobs, because they said they could track transactions, banking transactions across the world. Some of these people are involved in positions that can hold markets down, because they control markets behind the scenes. Remember, Martha Stewart got in trouble for inside trading years ago? You guys that remember that? Notice how it's people like George Soros or Warren Buffett, and who are involved in some of these things. And if you look up the article about those banks that were caught manipulating the commodities market, and notice recently they had warned some bankers about spoofing, and some finally got in trouble. Well, you always know that there's some rules for thee, but not for me. There's some that will get in trouble, but some won't. So I just proved to you guys, if you just interpreted what I said, that's how the market is manipulated. So I'm not going to bore you guys, but make sure you go over to my new channel. That's where I'm going to be going live. Hopefully get more content for you guys uploaded over there. Check me out. I put the link in the description box. So just check this video after finish uploading. Don't forget to thumbs up this video regardless. And I appreciate you guys' support, those who continue to rock with me. Dorsey's Resource. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TruthSocialMinds.com. The real legends never die. They live in our hearts. The marathon will continue. I'm out, guys. Thank you. Peace. Blessings.